I'm getting there. Come on.
Who would like to go first? Jackie, okay.
Changing my sorry everyone. No, I just
There we are. We've got two of me now.
There's two John rows now.
I'm not trying to take more time.
I'm going to leave meeting on this one.
This isn't working when I get too many people.
Okay. Ladies, can you hear me now? Is that better? Is that clearer? Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, and assembled company wherever you are in this world, on whatever time zone we are in, welcome to the World Storytelling Cafe. Only marginally late, but it is on account of the fact that there were leaves on the line and the train was late. And and the airports are closed, and I mean, travel is really difficult. I'm stuck between, I either have to use a Santa sleigh or a magic carpet from and the suit down in Marrakesh was completely out of magic carpets, and so I can't. But I got here. I walked. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to World Storytelling Cafe. And tonight we have a fantastic night. We've got storytelling teachers from around the world that are brought to us by the amazing David Heathfield, who's walked from country to country, finding teachers in the most obscure places, in the mountains of the Himalayas, on the Gaza Strip, in the Highlands of Scotland, and the lowlands of
John, can you hear me?
all over. And so he's very tired. He's looking very well on it. It obviously keeps you fit, this walking from country to country, David. But for right now, I'm going to pass over to you, and you'll pass over to various teachers who you have a personal acquaintance with from around this globe. So please, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Welcome David Heathfield, who's going to take over from me now.
Something wrong with the voice, John, I think.
It obviously keeps you fit, this walking from country to country, David. But for right now, I'm going to pass over to you, and you'll pass over to various teachers who you have a personal acquaintance with.
Hello. That was a very strange introduction. I don't know if it was just me or whether everybody else heard lots of different voices going on.
Yes.
But anyway, we're ready to go now. And thank you for the most extraordinary introduction, John. It's wonderful to be here with all of you and everybody who's watching, whether you're watching live on Facebook, whether you're here in the room on Zoom, or wherever you are in the world. We're here together to share Midwinter tales from all around the world, and we are all storytellers, and we're all involved in education in one way or another, and all of us have been involved in a course that I run called Creative and Engaging Storytelling for Teachers. And without further ado, I'm in Exeter in the southwest of England, And we're going to go directly north to begin. From here, at one end of this island, this troubled island, right to the other end, to the northeast. And may I introduce the wonderful Jackie Ross. Over to you, Jackie, for the first tale of the evening.
Thank you, David, and welcome to Scotland, everybody. We are enjoying the winter solstice. The hope for new life begins today, but my tale is set in deepest, darkest winter. All the animals were gathered. Well, they thought all the animals were gathered. It was so dark, nobody could be sure. It had been dark for days, weeks, months, it seemed like, and the animals wanted light. The hoolet hooted, "We'll give you a prize if you can gar the sunrise." Anyone who could make the sunrise would get a prize. Well, the animals were quick to respond, and a wee reed squirrel shouted out, "Gie it to me, I can fit today. I'll yoke his son with my bushy tail. I'll get him to rise." Well, the squirrel set off to find the sun and to tickle him with its tail in the hope that the sun might rise. But try as it could, that squirrel had no success. And when he came back, all the animals were disappointed because it was still pitch black, dark as dark could be. So the hoolet said, "I'll give you a prize if you can guard the sunrise." So up came the Tod. No, he didn't. It was the stag. Up came the muckle reed stag, and he bellowed, and he said, "Gie it to me, I can fit today. I'll fling his son up into the sky with my muckle antlers. I'll get it going." And the stag set off to try and throw the sun up into the sky with his great big antlers. But try as he might, he couldn't manage. So he came back and all the animals were disappointed. Oh, this darkness was getting them down. They were fair scunnert, fed up they were. So the hoolet said, "I'll give you a prize if you can gar the sunrise." So the Tod came along, and the Tod, the sly, crafty fox, he says, "I'll trick the sun into rising." And all the animals thought, well, he probably will. He's tricked us a few times. So off went the fox to try and trick the sun. But he used all his cunning, all his cleverness, all his sleeked slyness, but he couldn't get the sun to rise. The animals were getting very, very fed up of the dark. And the hoolet, more in hope than anything, she was getting desperate. She said, "I'll give you a prize if you can gar the sunrise." And up popped a tiny wee robin. Well, the animals laughed. "How are you going to get the sun to rise?" And the robin opened its mouth, tweet, 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 and sang the most beautiful song. And before long, the sun opened its eyes, and the robin sang louder, and the sun stretched its arms, and the robin tweeted louder still, and soon the sun rose up into the sky, and all the animals cheered. And the hoolet made sure that Robin was never hungry ever again. And that's my story for winter. Thank you.
Jackie, thank you so much. What a wonderful story to open the evening. Love the puppets. The sun will rise. We're going through dark times, aren't we? But the sun will rise. The sun will always rise again.
It will. It definitely will.
Oh, thank you, Jackie. We're going to shoot away across to the beyond Europe, all the way to Palestine now. And in Gaza, I'd like to welcome Sharifa Hamdan. Hi, Sharifa. It's so wonderful that you're here. So Sharifa is over here
I'm
in
ready.
Gaza in Palestine.
Okay.
Over to you, Sharifa.
Yes, I'm here. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. I'm here, Sharifa Hamdan, a teacher of English for 13 years at Honorwa schools in Gaza, Palestine. This time, I'm going to tell you a story from my own memory, my own memory. Now, many years ago, far away in Shafir village, it is in the east of Canaan land, there was a family. This family was too poor, mom, dad, and a daughter. Even they are so poor, but they loved their child. They loved Rima. Rima was so beautiful girl. And they always answered and replied all her demands, even of their poverty. One day, Rima asked, Mom, can I have some mahalabiya? Okay, darling, why not? I'll do it. Oh my God, we have just flour, but need some milk and some sugar. You have no money. And if we have money, we can't go outside the village. The city is too far. So let's wait for tomorrow morning. No, Mom, I need mahalabiya. Please, Mom, do it, please. You make some mahalabiya for me. Oh, darling, let's wait tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, I'll do you mahalabiya. Oh, Mom. Rima began to cry. She cried a lot. She cried and cried and cried. Oh, Mom, I need some mahalabiya. I'd like to eat it now. Please, darling, relax. Relax, Mom. Come on, darling. Mom had Rima and started to say, يلا تنام يلا تنام واذبح لطيامة ريمة تنام ريمة تنام روح يا حمام تصدق بضحك على ما تنام يلا تنام ريمة تنام. Oh my God. Slept deeply. Mom began to think, what can we buy some milk and sugar to make mahalabiya to our beloved daughter Rima, what can I do? So while she was thinking and thinking, she slept. Then a voice far away came to her ear. Wake up, wake up. What's wrong? Out and get the tonsure. What? Mom stood up and go out, find that tonsure. She looked, then left, front, and back. There was no tonsure. What did he mean? Again the voice. Go out and find the tonsure. Look for the tonsure. Again, Mom went out and looked. Right, left, front, and back. There was no tonsure. What can I do? The voice again. It is magic tonsure. You can go and help your lovely Rima. You will make mahalabiya. Oh my God. Then thunder. Ooh. Storm. Ooh. The rain. Then Mom looked here and there. Where's the tonsure? Yes, the tonsure. What can I do with it? The voice again. So simply. You can ask the tonsure to make you mahalabiya, but remember, tell it when to start and when to stop and how much could make mahalabiya. Okay, that's and easy. Don't forget when to start, when, and how much. Okay, thank you very much. It was the lovely sound I have ever listened to. Then Mom went into the house and make as directions. Tonsure, make us some halabiya now and make about 3 bowls. Then the tonsure began to make mahalabiya. Tonsure is full of mahalabiya. Rima, darling, wake up, get up. Mahalabiya, you can eat to be full. Mom, thank you very much. Have you bought sugar and milk? Yes, darling, you will eat mahalabiya. Eat, darling, it's yours now. Thank you, Mom, thank you. Rima began to eat, and oh my God, I'm full now. Thank you much. Stop, tonsure, Mom said. Stop making mahalabiya. And that. Then, after 2 days, Mom and Dad went out to the city, and Rima stayed in the house. Mom said, Rima, don't make any mistake. We'll be out for just 2 hours and we'll be back soon, darling. Okay. Goodbye, Mom. Goodbye. After an hour, Rima felt so hungry. So she asked her to make mahalabiya. Tonsure, could you make mahalabiya? and forgot to say anything. She just asked to make mahalabiya. Tunjar began to make mahalabiya. The tunjar is full and full and full. Oh my God, mahalabiya spread all over the house. Oh my God, out of on the stairs, on the roads. Oh my God, the village is full of mahalabiya. Neighbors, people, what's that? Mahalabiya, mahalabiya all over there. What can we do? What can we do? Oh my God. Mahalabiya all over the world. What can I do? What can I do? Rima began to be so angry, so annoyed, so sad. Oh my God, what can I do? Meanwhile, Mom entered the village. What's wrong? The roads, the streets, the house, the streets, all over there. Oh my God, what can we do? Mom, quickly entered the house by sinking mahalabiya all over the roads and said very angrily, "Stop making mahalabiya! Stop, Anja! Stop making mahalabiya!" Then Tonjar stopped. All neighbors and people began to clean the roads, the streets from mahalabiya that spread all over the roads and the streets. Mom said to Rima, "Look, darling, what have you?"
Oh, Sharifa. Oh, Sharifa, we've lost your
I'm
sound.
here again.
Ah,
Yes, it's an error in the internet. Okay, now
please continue. Please continue.
Tunjar, yes, it was a magic Tunjar. But remember, Rima, to listen to your advice. So, could I ask a question? Do you know what is mahalabiya? What is mahalabiya?
Mahalaviya is kind of sweet like a porridge.
Yes.
I know this. And you make it in a tunja, which is a kind of cooking pot.
Yes, David. It's a sweet dish in Palestine.
Beautiful.
I hope it's good story.
It's a wonderful
like
story.
it?
Sharifa, please, can you
Thank
get
you very
some
much.
mahalaviya now and give it to us?
Yeah, it. I wish, wallahi, I wish. Yes, I wish.
Because
So
you have so much.
tasty. Yes,
Sharifa, I
with
love
honey, with honey, it's so delicious.
with honey.
With honey and some nuts.
Nuts
Wonderful
too.
taste.
Sharifa, I love the fact that this is a true story that happened to you. That's
Yes,
just
David.
wonderful.
Who's hungry here?
Oh, Sharifa's story other than me.
Yes, thank you, David. Thank you, Zahra. Miss you.
I miss you as well, Sharifa, but it's wonderful to hear your story. It's in
Thank
true
you, thank
Sharifa
you.
style.
You are so
Wonderful.
great, David. We learned a lot from you.
Thank
You are a great storyteller. I have learned a lot from you. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Sharifa. Thank you. Do you know what, Sharifa? I really did. So now it's to Sue, who's in. Are you in Oldham, Sue?
No, I'm in Manchester, in the UK.
In the north.
In the northwest, yeah. And it's very cold here, but the story that I'm going to tell to you this evening is from deepest, darkest Russia, where it's much colder, and it's called The Coat. So once there was an old man and his son. They lived in Russia, where the mountain air was fresh, the wind was icy cold, and the snow lay thick on the ground. They were so poor, they only had one coat between them. And as it was bitterly cold, they both started to argue. The old man would say, "I need the coat, I need the coat. I am tired and old and it warms my bones. I need the coat, I need the coat. I am tired and old and it warms my bones." But the son would say, "No, father, I need the coat, I need the coat. I work hard in the fields all day long, digging the soil, for I am young. I need the coat, I need the coat. I work hard in the fields all day long, digging the soil, for I am the young one." They decided to go to the wise man in the village. He took the coat from them and he said, "Come back in 1 week." They went back to their ramshackle house in the mountains. They were both freezing. The old man felt guilty. "I shouldn't have argued," he said. "My son should have the coat. He works so hard for what little money we have. I shouldn't be so selfish." And the son felt guilty too. "Of course my father should have the coat. He's old, tired and weak. How could I be so selfish?" After a week, they went back to the wise man and they told him what they had been thinking. "You are good men," he said. "You both shall have a coat." He gave them their coat back and he gave them one of his own too. "Take care, my friends," he said. "Keep warm, but most of all, look after each other this winter." And that's what they did.
Thank you, Sue. So I missed the ending, but I'm not sure if that's because of my computer or did other people hear the ending or not? Oh, just me. But fortunately, I know this story, Sue.
Yeah, it's one of yours. Yeah.
It's in my book.
Yeah, that's
it's a wonderful story, and you told it beautifully. Yes, it's definitely a story for Midwinter and a story about, peace as well, peacemaking. Thank you so much. Wow. I'm just going to ask if Evrim, are you ready to tell your story?
Let's see if I'm ready. Yes, I can.
Evrim, are you in Ankara? Because
yes.
You're always traveling in Turkey. I know that. Are you in Ankara?
Yes, I'm
You're
in
at home in Ankara.
At home because I cannot travel because of this pandemic. And I'm at home.
And it's very. It looks.
David, I cannot hear you. Is it only me?
Keep breaking up, David. Yeah.
Evrim is in Ankara, so Over to you.
David, I cannot hear you.
Please continue, Evelyn.
Okay, let's see.
I think I've got connection problems this evening. Sorry.
All right.
Can you hear me now? But you're in. Here we are in Turkey, in
middle of
Anatolia.
Anatolia. And this story tonight I will share with you comes from the heart of Anatolia. Are you ready to open the doors of this long night with the magic key that opens all the doors for stories? If so, let's begin. Long, but very long ago, there was a man. He was a captain. He was the master of the 7 seas. And he was the prince of all pirates. He was strong. He was big. But he was like a bastard. He had no mercy for no one. He had many slaves. And he made all the 7 deadly sins in his life. He was envious, he was lustless, and he was greedy. Hikmet was that kind of man. And he was in the black trade slavery. And all he was doing was eating and drinking all the good wines of those beautiful spice islands. And he was having fun with all the women. And he was drinking and eating. Of course, God can mercy everything, but only he cannot mercy one thing: bread and the water. In the deadly loneliness of that sea, only bread and water was a deadly sin. One day, Hikmet was sitting in the deck of his big ship, and he was eating. Of course, he was drinking, and the beautiful woman was next to him. And all his slaves surrounded him and servicing him food and wine and meat and pilav and couscous and everything. You know, it's very precious when you're at the sea, when you're sailing. Fresh water and hot bread. All his slaves, they were in thirst. Their lips were cracked because of this thirst. But Hikmet, he was just eating and laughing and drinking. Suddenly, he saw a calabash of fresh cold water at the corner of that table. And next, there was a freshly baked bread next to it. Slowly he stood up. He went and he took the calabash and the bread to the other hand. And he poured the water into the sea and threw the bread and said, "Oh, fish, taste the fresh water. Taste it, taste it. It goes well with the fresh bread. The hot bread, you will taste something different." And at that time, he heard another laugh. Who was he? Who dares to laugh? Who dares to laugh? It was similar to his laugh. Who was echoing him? He looked around with sharp eyes, but he could see nobody. Who dares? He was ready to punish everyone. "Look, Hikmet, my son!" He heard the sound again. And when he looked sun was coming. He couldn't see, but when he looked up, he saw a red bird. His wings were covering the sky, and the flames of his eyes were coming from the sun and burning the neck of his sheep. Don't be afraid, my son. I'm here to thank you. I'm here to thank you. Wish whatever you want from me. Who are you? Who are you? Don't worry. I'm the demon. But why? But why are you here, demon? Because you made the biggest thing. You poured that water into the sea and you threw the bread. That was the moment I was waiting for centuries. No, you were the one who didn't pray to him. So you're my son now. Wish whatever you want. I will give you everything you want, my son. Oh, Hikmet started to sweat. All that sweat started to pour down from his back. He just stood up there. He couldn't move. He was thinking, oh, come on, my son. Come on, wish everything. Before he comes, wish something from me and you'll be mine forever. Hikmet was not saying anything. And all of a sudden, from the far, far away, a blue thunder started to come closer, 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 closer to the ship. And the blue drop of water with a peaceful voice said, Hikmet, my son, I'm the father. Hikmet, my son, I can forgive you. But as soon as he said, that blue voice said this, the red bird faded away like a flower and he disappeared into the sky. Hikmet was still in the dark, just stood up and couldn't say anything. He looked and the blue drop said, Hikmet, I will forgive you. I will mercy you. But it will not be easy, my son. It will not be easy because you gave my precious nimet to the bird fish. You waste my nimet. You wasted them all. It's not easy for forgiveness. And he said, Hikmet, you will wander all around the 7 seas for centuries and centuries and centuries, unless someone gives you a drop of water, fresh water, and a piece of bread. You will wander all around the sea. And that blue sound disappeared, and disappeared into the darkness of the sea. Yeah, since then, Hikmet is wandering all around the seas, all around the 7 seas. With his loneliness, he's sailing. But my friends, if you see someone who is begging for water and bread in those seas, in those lands, wherever you see someone who begs for water and bread, please share, please give. Who knows? Maybe he might be Hikmet, waiting for the forgiveness.
Wow, thank you so much, Evrim. Yeah, and it's a reminder that this, for many of us, is the season of giving. Yes, giving what you have. Wow, thank you so much. It's so beautiful. Evrin, can I just ask you, would you just like to tell the other people here about your role with UNESCO?
Oh, yes. I'm the expert of intangible cultural heritage for UNESCO. And I've been working for transmission of culture and the traditions.
And that's particularly Turkish culture.
Now, not only the Turkish culture, because I also work for other cultures and other countries.
Brilliant.
But I'm a folklorist, and I know, so that's why I'm involved to this storytelling also.
Wonderful. It's such a joy for me to meet people working in such various fields of education and storytelling. And I know that you do a lot of storytelling in English, but most of all, you're telling stories in Turkish. And it's just brilliant that people are so confident to tell stories in their second languages.
I was quite excited, and it was the first time that I told this story in English.
Beautifully done. It's not a long way physically from Turkey to Palestine. So we're just going to hop a short distance back to Palestine, this time to the West Bank. Lamia, are you in Hebron?
Yes, I am.
So
hi.
Thank you for being here, Lamia. Would you like to tell us a story?
Yes. So story.
Tell us a story.
Kenya McCann, once upon a time. There was a wise man who traveled from place to place, and one day he got lost. He was very tired and hungry, and he found a village. So he knocked on the door of the door of the village, and he said, "Please, I am very tired and hungry. Could you spare me a little food?" "Sorry, we can't. We don't have much food. I am sorry." So he went to another door and knocked the door again. Please, I am very tired and hungry. Could you give me a little food?" "No, we are sorry. We have 5 children. We can't spare food for you." And he went from door to door, and no one gave him food. So he had an idea. He borrowed a large pot, and he picked 2 stones from his pocket. He washed them and put the stones in the pot and put water in it. All the neighbors watched him from their windows, and even some came around him. Then the soup was boiling with the stones, and she, what a beautiful smell. This soup will be amazing if we have had little cabbage. Oh, here, I have a cabbage. And a young little girl ran as fast as she can and fished a little cabbage. And they cut it and put it in the large pot. Then again, what an amazing smell. It will be delicious if we added to the cabbage a little potato. Oh, I have one. Wait a minute. And he ran as fast as he can, and the boy gave him a potato. They cut it and put it in the large pot. Then again, he sniffed again, and what a delicious smell. I once had a delicious soup with potatoes, cabbage, and carrots. And the old woman said, "I have some carrots. I will give it to you." So he added cabbage, carrots, and potatoes. Then he asked for garlic and onions. Suddenly, one of them said, "I have some chicken. We can add some chicken to it." What an amazing smell. It's very delicious. And he stirred the large pot again and again, and the smell was filled all the village. And all the men, girls, and boys gathered to the large pot and the wise man. After they finished, he asked them to bring bowls and plates to serve them some soup. And they shared the soup, and everyone was very happy. Then he cleaned everything. They danced, they sang, they were very happy. And was the last man who was about to go. Please stay with us. Thank you for teaching us to share. It's a very magical stones you have. Please stay with us. But he said, sorry, I can't. I have another village to teach and another stone soup to make. And this is the end. I hope you like it.
Thank you, Lamia. I love the story of stone soup. It travels the world, that story. It's beautiful.
I hope to warm your days of long winter.
I wish you a delicious soup this evening.
Thanks, you too.
One of the wonderful things about well, I run these courses called Creative and Engaging Storytelling for Teachers. And it's not only storytelling in English we talk about. Many of the people that come to the course are teachers of Italian or teachers of Arabic, and different languages are shared during the courses. And Zahra Afsa, who many of you know from here in the World Storytelling Cafe, was recently on a course with me and sharing Persian stories. And I was very happy when Zahra also shared her own mother tongue of Farsi, or Persian. So Zahra has offered to share some Persian language with us this evening. Is that right, Zahra?
Yes, that's right. Hello, everybody. Thank you, David. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for teaching all of us with passion. And I've learned a lot from you, from your character, from your being, and also from your skills as a teacher. Yes, anyways, yes, I do not have a story for you tonight, but a few poems that I'm going to recite for you in Persian, because in Iran we celebrate the longest night of the year, which was for us was yesterday evening, 20th, going into the 21st of December. And this is one of the most ancient festivals that we still carry up to this day. It comes from pre-Islamic Iran, and people stay up till dawn. From they wait for the sun to rise, and they welcome the sun, and they believe that the sun is born. After this long dark night, the sun is born. So people used to go to the mountains and stay up to say hello or to show respect to the sun. And therefore during this night, people told each other stories, recite poems, eat fruits, especially fruits that are red, like pomegranates, lots of pomegranates, yes, and walnuts and other sorts of nuts. So that's all happening amongst the Iranians up to today, this day. And yes, and I have a poem here in front of me. This is from Shahnameh, one of our greatest epic books with many, many stories, amazing stories. And I'm going to recite for you the beginning of a story. And Ferdowsi, the poet and the author of Shahnameh, he begins this story with an introduction, and he actually, in this thick book, for the first time, we are seeing Ferdowsi, we are feeling him, he's talking about himself, and he's talking about his wife. And in this poem, beautifully, he describes the blackness of the night. He was very fearful, and it was very dark. And he goes on and writes about this darkness and about the stillness and the fears around him, within him and outside. And then slowly, he turns to his wife and asks him for a candle. And his wife appears out of this darkness, and she comes with a candle. And as she comes closer and closer to Ferdowsi, his heart begins to let go of all the fears and all the darkness that he was describing. And she begins talking to him, and she brings him fruits, pomegranates and wine, and she even plays music. She plays the harp for him, and she tells him that do not worry, have no fears, I'm going to tell you a story. She tells Ferdowsi a story. And then she asks him, if I tell you this story, will you promise me that you put it in poetry and you put it down in the book of Shahnameh? And Ferdowsi says, yes, I will surely do that. And the way she calms him down, the beauty of her language, how she begins this story, it's all wonderful in poetry. I am just giving you a few words here, but in Persian it is beautiful, really beautiful. So with your permission, I read you the poem just for you to get the voice of the Persian language, the sound, the rhythms. ستایش کنم ایزد پاک را که گویا و بینا کند خاک را. به موری دهد مالش نره شیر کند پشه بر پیل جنگی دلیر. شبی چون شبه روی شسته به قیر نه بهرام پیدا نه کیوان نه تیر. دگرگونه آرایشی کرد ما بسیج گذر کرد بر پیشگاه. شده تیره اندر سرای درنگ میان کرده باریک و دل کرده تنگ. ز تاجش دو بهره شده لاجورد سپرده هوا را به زنگار گرد. سپاه شب تیره بر دشت و راه یکی فرش افکنده چون پر زاغ. چو پولاد زنگار خورده سپهر تو گفتی به قیر اندر اندوده چهر. خروشیدم و خواستم زو چراغ بیاورد شمع و بیامد به باغ. مرا گفت شمعت چه باید همی شب تیره خوابت نیاید همی. بدو گفتم ای بت نیم مرد خواب بیاور یکی شمع چون آفتاب. I'm going to finish here because the last word I said was the sun. That is when Ferdowsi asks the wife, bring me light like the sun. So I hope you enjoyed the poem as much as I am enjoying it.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And Zahra, Persian or Farsi, it's not a language that I hear very often. So it's just wonderful to sink into your language and to be immersed in the rhythms and the cadences and the music of your language. Would anyone else like to comment on hearing that Persian poetry?
Yeah, the letters sound like Arabic, but only the letters, yeah. So I enjoyed it. I felt it, and without understanding anything, but I just felt the words. So brilliant, yeah.
So it's like Arabic, but not quite like Arabic.
Yeah, Zahra, I mean a flower in Arabic, Zahra.
Sorry, please tell me again.
name Zahra.
Yes, my name is, yes, surely. It's an Arabic name. And it means flower, right?
A flower, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
So,
David, can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Zahra. I love Persian because in Ottoman language, I can catch the words because of the Ottoman language. I can catch the words, and I always loved Persian. And I tried to learn Persian for 2 years. And when I catch the words, I was, it was very nice to hear them.
Yes, I think it's amazing because the courts of Iran and Ottoman, they were in close contact, and many artists and calligraphers and poets traveled between Persia and Turkey. And as you said, yes, one can hear many words that are used both there and, I mean, in Turkey and us in Persia.
Thank you for the point.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Zahra. Thank you. And we're coming towards the end of the evening now. I'm going to tell a story, and then Hend is going to finish the evening with Hend who's in Gaza, in Palestine. And the story that I'm going to tell is very, very far from Persia. We're going all the way north. This is a story that comes from Scandinavia, but you know, many of the stories we tell in the UK have Scandinavian roots. Winter was coming, and Bear was tired. "It's time for me to sleep," said Bear to his friend, the fox. "Good friend Fox," said Bear, "come with me to my cave. There we will spend the winter sleeping." "Well," said Fox, "sleeping all winter? I'm not so sure, Bear." "If you spend winter in my cave, in spring when we are hungry, I will share this pot of butter with you," said Bear. "This delicious pot full of butter. Half will be yours, Fox, when the spring comes and we wake. Look, I'll hide it underneath the sharp thorn bush." And Bear pushed the pot full of butter under the sharp thorn bush and led Fox deep into the cave. And soon Bear had snuggled down, ready to sleep all winter long. But Fox, he found it difficult to sleep. He slept for a while, and then he woke. He slept fitfully, but then he woke again. "I'm getting hungry," said Fox. "I can't wait for spring. That butter looked so good. Perhaps I could just smell it." And Fox quietly got up and slinked out of the cave and through the snow that had begun to fall towards the thorn bush. And Fox took the pot full of butter from under the thorn bush and opened, and it smelt so good. And Fox put out his long pink tongue and a lick, but just one. And Fox put the lid on the butter and put it under the thorn bush and came back through the lightly fallen snow, brushing with his tail the paw prints that he had made. And as Fox entered the cave, Bear was disturbed. "Fox, Fox, where have you been?" "Oh," said Fox, "haven't you heard? They say a child will be born." "A child? What will they call the child?" said Fox. Said Bear, "Just licked." Well, Bear went back to sleep, and Fox slept as well, but not for long. Oh, it was so difficult, and he'd only had one lick of the butter, and he was so hungry. How could I wait all winter to eat? Well, he endured a little longer, and now the snow was falling heavier. It had reached midwinter, the longest night, and Fox truly could not sleep. So before dawn, he got up and sneaked out of the cave through the deep snow, leaving deep prints, and came to the thorn bush, which was nearly covered, and Fox pushed the snow away, reached under the bush and took out the pot, lifted the lid. Oh, it was so rich and creamy, that butter. And Fox licked once and licked again and licked and licked and licked, and oh, that butter was wonderful. He licked and it was so delicious. He licked until it's half gone. I've already eaten my half of the butter. I should save the rest for my friend Bear. And Fox put the half pot of butter back under the thorn bush, covered it with snow, and hiding his tracks, came back to the cave. Bear stirred. "Fox," said Bear, "have you been out again?" "Haven't you heard?" said Fox. "The baby has been born." "What are they going to call the baby?" said Bear. Half gone." Well, Fox slept again, and now his belly was full for a while. He slept more weeks and then some more, but oh, it was hard for him. Foxes aren't designed to sleep all winter long, and Fox woke again at the beginning of the thaw, when the snow became wet and mushy. Fox went out of the cave and through the wet snow all the way to the thorn bush. It was wet all around, and he dug through. His fur was soaking and cold. He took the pot and opened it. Oh, perhaps just one more lick. But when he licked, he could not stop. He licked and he licked and he licked and he licked and he licked until the pot was empty. Oh, what have I done? Fox put the lid on the pot of butter, the empty pot, and put it back under the thorn bush and came back. He no longer needed to cover his tracks. All was slush and wet. And when he went into the cave, Bear was already waking from the long winter sleep. "Fox, where have you been this time?" "They've had the naming ceremony," said Fox. "Why didn't you come?" "What did they call the child?" "Emptied out." Said Bear. "I'm hungry. I've just remembered. Fox, do you remember? I put a pot full of delicious rich butter underneath the thorn bush. Let's share it, my friend. Let's go and find it." And Bear led the way, and Fox followed behind. And Bear came to the thorn bush and reached underneath that pool of cold water. He took the pot out and prized open the lid, and it's empty. It's emptied out. Fox, you ate all of the butter. "Me?" said Fox. "Friend Bear, are you saying that I ate all of the butter?" "Indeed," said Bear, "you ate all of my butter." "But you said half was for me," said Fox. "Half was for you and half for me," said Bear. "You ate it all." "I didn't taste it," said Fox. "I didn't even lick it. I didn't even smell it." "You did," said Bear. "You ate it," said Fox. "Me? I slept all winter long." "You ate it," said Fox, "and I can prove it." "I did not. I slept all winter." "You ate it in your sleep." "Impossible." "I'll prove it," said Fox. "Sleep a little longer. There's a dry patch nearby, and there under some sheltering rocks." Bear lay down, and you know bears can sleep at any time, and Bear was soon asleep again and snoring. And Fox went back to the empty pot He used his sharp claw to scrape out one last bit of butter, and then he smeared the butter carefully onto Bear's lips. Bear, Bear! What is it? Said Bear. Look, you ate the butter. I can see it. It's all over your lips. No, said Bear. Oh, Fox, I beg your pardon. I must have eaten it in my sleep. Oh, Fox, forgive me. Let us always be trusting and good friends. Very well, said Fox, but next year you must give me my share. This is the story of Fox and Bear, friends forever. Thank you very much. And finally, let's go to the last, but what an even stories, the last storyteller, to Hend Kata, who's in Gaza. And Hend, it's a delight to introduce you again. And wow, wonderful to have all of us together for this special midwinter event.
Yes, so hello to everyone. I'm going to tell the story of The Blue Door by the Palestinian writer Sunya Nimr. And I think that Santa doesn't need a sleigh or because my story, in my story, there is a magic door. Oh, and I have a Santa hat, by the way, but maybe I can't wear it at the moment. In my house, there was a blue door. It wasn't the door of our house. Neither was it the door of any of the rooms. It was a lonely door, leaning on the wall of the living room. Nothing special about it, except for some cracks here and there, and its color that faded as time passed. I never understood why my grandfather was so attached to that door. He refused to put it somewhere else. One night, I heard a rattling sound coming from the living room. I snuck on my tiptoes to the living room to find out about the source of that noise. And to my surprise, I saw my grandfather sitting on the door, and in a flash, he disappeared. I got scared and puzzled. Where did my grandfather go? How did the door disappear? I stayed up all that night, waiting for my grandfather to come back. And then at dawn, my grandfather showed up again. He put the door away and went to bed. My grandfather disappeared every night and showed up again at dawn. The other night, I decided to hide behind the sofa in the living room to see what was happening. My grandfather entered the living room. He put the door on the ground. He sat on the door. It's time now. I nimbly and quickly jumped and sat behind him. He looked at me and smiled. And he said, "Hold me tight and get ready." Then I began to feel the door shaking. What's happening to us, Grandpa? Are we flying? Yeah, we're flying. We're flying. I looked down. Wow. I could see the roofs of the houses in that camp fading away as we flew higher. The camp looked very different from above. I don't know how long we flew, but it seemed as if we were floating in space. We were flying when my grandfather pointed down and said, "Look there, that's the Sea of Jaffa." The sea was below us, with its water shining in the moonlight. And the ships there looked really small, just like the origami boats I used to float in the bathtub with my brother. Everything looked fantastic. We began to land. But wait, we're landing in an abandoned place? A scary place with bare trees everywhere. Those bare trees looked like ghosts. "Oh, what's the scary place, Grandpa? I'm scared." My grandfather replied, "This is our village." Then he sat on a rock there and looked at the bare trees. And he asked me, "Would you like an apple or a pear?" I didn't get that. I could only see bare trees. But then he touched a trunk of a tree there. And all of a sudden, it was all covered with freshly green leaves. And from its branches drooped apples, pomegranates, pears, and grapes. Wow. My grandfather picked an apple and gave it to me. Then he stood up nimbly and he touched the rock that he was sitting on, and all of a sudden that rock turned into a beautiful house. He told me that house would be mine one day. And that yard that he pointed at, it became all covered with beautiful flowers. And that dry spring he was sitting by, all of a sudden it all became full of fresh water. He told me that I'd be able to send origami boats to the end of the world through that spring one day. My grandfather then held my hand and began to run, kicking pebbles as he ran, as if he were a happy child. We played at the beach and we rolled over the green grass. We laid on the ground watching the sky changing color at dawn. Every night, my grandfather and I flew on that blue door, visiting lovely places. On that door, the world would turn into a magic place. And my grandfather would become a happy child again. Until one day, the door disappeared. Where's the door? Where's my grandfather? My father replied, "Your grandfather died." I missed him, and I missed his magic door. But I didn't cry or feel sad, because I saw places no one else had ever seen before. And I knew that my grandfather was there, sitting by a spring there, sending origami boats to the end of the world.
Wow, Hen, that was absolutely beautiful.
That was amazing.
Thank you very much.
I don't know whether I want to travel by Blue Door or origami boat. Either would do me right now. That was so beautiful.
I think this evening we've all been on a journey on the Blue Door for the whole evening, journeying through that world of fantasy and these world of beautiful stories. Oh, here's my wife, Tammy. And
choose to fly or just float.
Float or flight. Flight or float. Oh, can I thank all of you for sharing such wonderful stories. It's a great joy for me to be able to meet teachers like you when I run my courses. If anybody's interested, the next course is an intensive course on the 28th, 29th and 30th of December. And it's open to anybody who's interested in storytelling and education, whether you're an experienced storyteller or a person who's relatively new to it. Wonderful. There's been lots of food this evening. We've tasted muhalabia and delicious soup and butter, and then fruit from the magical tree, your grandfather's magical tree. And I just came to me a thought, that it's a story ending that I know Evrim knows, that's popular in Turkey, and I learned it from an Albanian story about the 3 apples that fell from paradise. So this evening we can say that the 3 apples fell, and the first apple is for the one who tells the stories, and that's you. So please take an apple if you tell a story. And the second apple is for one who listens. We need the listeners, so please take an apple if you've listened this evening. And the third apple, well, there are different versions of this story, but I like to say the third apple is the sweetest apple. It's the apple for the one who listens and then takes a story and tells it to others. And I think the stories we've told this evening are all freely given. So if you agree, let us share the apple and take a story or more than one story that you've been told this evening and share it with others. And that way we can make this world a more beautiful place, especially in these difficult times. So here's the apple for sharing. Thank you, John, and the World Storytelling Cafe for hosting this one-off event. Maybe not one-off, maybe we'll do something like this again.
Thank you, David, for introducing these wonderful teachers to us and storytellers. And we definitely will not take the loaf of bread and the fresh water and throw it out to sea. That would be a definitely bad move. And we won't waste anything, especially these beautiful stories. And thank you all for coming to the World Storytelling Cafe. Tomorrow night, tomorrow I'd say night. I'm trying to train myself not to use times of day because of the great variation. But tomorrow at 5 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, we have our young tellers again. And there will probably be tellers from Gaza, and there may be from India, and maybe from England or wherever. And if any of you know of any young tellers that would just like to come and tell a story, anyone under 18 is welcome. Just bring them, tell them to come. You don't need to arrange it in advance. Just come to the cafe on at 5 o'clock tomorrow at GMT and join on the gold button and get them to tell their stories. But I just find the Tuesday night sessions with the young people, just apart from giving me a huge amount of hope for the future of the world, it's just really inspiring. And I know some of the teachers on here are responsible for mentoring those young tellers. So thank you all. And
Farah Abu Jasser telling us the story, and she's going to tell us a fantastic story tomorrow. So yeah, apart from all the others, just come just for Farah's story tomorrow. It's wonderful.
Well, thank you for that, David, and thank you. You've been such a support, and you've introduced so many great people to the cafe.
And like you always say, John, Pete, you can come back and tell stories. Every second Sunday, there's the worldwide story round.
Yeah, and I haven't got the diaries, but well, next Sunday is our next one. So next Sunday, anyone who wants, just come and tell a story on the worldwide story round. You're always welcome. The World Storytelling Cafe has its door open forever. And well, for as long as it ends, for as long as all this continues.
And share the recording of today's session with your friends and contacts.
That's quite important. All the sessions are in. If you go to World Storytelling Cafe, there's an archive, and you can see we've probably got about probably 400 hours of storytelling on that archive at the moment. So go there if you're recommending to people this one. They're in recent performances and the archive. You can find them all over the place. So we try and spread it as far as possible. So thank you all. Good night, and thank you, David, again.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. And
I'll
see the quest teachers the day after tomorrow at the party.
Oh, yes. Thank you, David. And
thank you, everyone, for wonderful stories.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And Abdu and Ali's probably there down in the corner. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you for
so
coming,
much.
Norman and Abdu and Ruba and Stephanie. Ali.
Thank you all, and see you tomorrow with Farah's story. Yeah, happy to be with you here.
Thank you, Ruba. I met Ruba this morning, and her student Farah is going to tell the story tomorrow. Great. I'll see you again tomorrow, Ruba. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for all of you.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Party's on the 23rd on Wednesday, is it?
That's right.
Yeah, so it's not tomorrow, is it?
Tomorrow is the Young International Storytellers.
Oh yeah, and then party's on Wednesday.
And then we can't tell everybody about our party. It's only for people who've done the course. They're all feeling jealous now.
All right, bye everyone. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Happy solstice.